But anyways, third down. Let's get into this third down. That one pissed me off, man. The timeout. It was funny, but it was like annoying. We all make stupid decisions. That's why I'm hoping he gets a second chance in XFL. But he needs to learn a lesson for this because he clearly doesn't care about anyone else. Anyways, third down, UFC 252. I will only get into the co-main event and the main event for this segment. I haven't been able to watch the whole main card. We were on a little camping trip in New Mexico, went to White Sands, so we had the fights going on, and I really didn't pay attention to the co-main event and main event. So the co-main event, I'll start in the bantamweight division, where we had Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show, versus Marlon Vera. And this one was an interesting fight. Marlon Vera has done pretty well. I think he won 5 of his last 6 going into the fight. And we all know that Sugar Sean O'Malley was, I think he was 12-0. He was undefeated, MMA record, going into this fight, trying to take out a tough fighter and Marlon Vera and climb his way up in the rankings. And Sean O'Malley looked good in the beginning. Leg kicks were very effective. Each of them were stinging Vera to the point where, you get hit. When you see a guy gets kicked in the leg and his whole body turns, those are some powerful kicks. And that's exactly what was happening. Sean O'Malley hit him with a few of them. And I don't know exactly what happened, but it looked, so as I'm watching the fight, Sean O'Malley kind of falls to his knee, and it looked like his knee kind of buckled or something like that. You can't really see it. The camera angle wasn't the greatest, while watching on the fight, but when you see different angles, you could kind of see what happens. His ankle kind of rolls on him, and he like fell and tried to get up. And then I was trying to figure out like what the hell was going on, because he did it a couple times, and then you could tell that his leg was clearly compromised. Something on his, I want to say it was his right side, his right leg was compromised. So he's hobbling around, ends up falling to the ground, I believe, during a scuffle where he couldn't catch his feet, and then gets hit with a big elbow. Herb Dean stops it early, and people were pissed. I was kind of confused because Herb Dean did stop it very early, but as you seen how he walked out and how he was on the ground for about 5 minutes, you understand that Herb Dean made the right call. He couldn't defend himself. His knee was messed up. He got hit with a big elbow, and it would have just got worse from there if Herb Dean let it happen. So I thought it was a good stoppage after the fact, after I seen Sugar Sean O'Malley, laying on the ground for a good 5 minutes. He was stretchered out as well. He couldn't walk out. So that, I thought it was a good stoppage from Herb Dean. Herb Dean's been catching a lot of flack lately. Stay off Herb Dean. Dude's the best UFC referee of all time. Everyone makes mistakes, but I think this one, I was questioning it at the beginning because I was like, dang, that was fast. Like, hit him with the elbow, and, it was a big elbow. I think he got one more lick in there, and then Herb Dean was like, it's over. So Herb Dean might have seen that Sean O'Malley was injured and compromised, so he was trying to save him, and luckily he did, because I think that was a good call after the fact. But going into, I went on Twitter to figure out if anyone caught what caused Sean O'Malley to, at first I thought it was his knee, because it looked like he kept buckling. I was trying to figure out, if anyone's seen what happened. Initially, I thought that Sean O'Malley might have kicked Vera's knee to kind of mess up his leg, but they showed, at least from the video footage that I seen, Vera kicked Sean O'Malley in his right leg, and after that, you could see Sean O'Malley immediately switched his stance, and his leg was, his right leg was in the back, and he started hobbling after that. So I don't know if it's like nerve damage or whatnot, because I know some people were talking about that. You could tell that his coordination on his left leg was not there. Every time he tried to, well, not every time, but the reason why he was rolling his ankle on his right leg is because the coordination wasn't there. He would try to strike, and his foot would drag, and then it would like buckle his whole leg. And it happened like 2 or 3 times. And like I said, Marlon Vera took advantage of that situation and got the dub. So big ups to him. I don't know what the odds were. I know he definitely was an underdog in this fight for sure. I want to know how big of an underdog, 'cause some people won money on this fight. And UFC have been trying to push Sean O'Malley, rightfully so, because the dude's box office, I think he's going to be good. I think think it would be good to have them do a rematch to kind of close this one out. But, you know, if they decide not to go a rematch and have Sean O'Malley fight someone else, that's fine too. I think he is still going to be a star in the UFC at 12-1. Marlon Vera, he took advantage of the opportunity, got a big win over a hot fighter and an exciting fighter that people love to see and that the UFC was really trying to push to be like the next McGregor. So big ups to Marlon Vera. That's a big win for his career. And, you know, now he kind of puts himself in the driver's seat and, you know, kind of positioning himself for a championship fight. So big ups to him. And then lastly, in the main event, we're going to talk Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier, DC. This one was a tough fight, man. This one was tough. So I was never really a big DC fan, especially when he was going against John Jones. But, you know, you watch DC, you listen to him commentate during the fights, you watch his interviews with Ariel Helwani, and, you know, he's a guy you can't really not like. You know, he should be a fan favorite, and he definitely got my support. You know, I'm a fan of DC now, and I don't know why I didn't like him. I think it was just because I was a huge John Jones fan, so I really couldn't like DC at the time. But DC from the Bay Area is a wrestling coach at Gilbert. You know, I'm from the Bay Area, so we have those roots and that connection right there. I was going for Daniel Cormier. This is his last fight. He said that he was going to retire after the fight, win or lose. And, you know, unfortunately, this time, Stipe Miocic got the win. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Stipe Miocic. And usually when somebody says, I don't want to take anything away, they give something to take away from the win. Unfortunately, the thing that kind of turned the fight around, now Stipe was still, I think at the end of round 3, it was probably 2-1 for Stipe. Easy. I think Daniel Cormier won the first round and lost the second and third, obviously. But at the end of the third round, Stipe unintentionally poked Daniel Cormier in the eye. I mean, really, it was a pretty bad poke. DC was furious at the referee for not catching it. The referee thought he got punched, so told him to go back to the corner because it was right at the end of the round 3. So he was furious. Went to his corner, said, "I can't see out of my eye." I think it was his left eye. Can't see out of his left eye. And honestly, when fighters say that, I'm looking to see this one. You could tell. I've seen fighters get poked in the eye. You know, they waited out for a few minutes and then, you know, they look normal. This one, you could tell he was really compromised. His eyelid was half down like this, and you know he was getting hit with right hands. So obviously, your left eye, if you can't see out of it, you're gonna be a sucker for the right because you can't see it. So he was compromised, man, after that eye poke. Again, unintentional by Stipe. And DC did poke Stipe in the second round, I believe, accidental poke. But that eye poke, unfortunately, was a huge difference maker for the fight because he can't defend something he can't see. And Stipe's right is, you know, one of his strengths. So you're asking a man to fight arguably the best heavyweight of all time with one eye. And to be honest, in the 4th, 5th round, Daniel Cormier showed me that he had a ton of heart. He finished like a champion. You know, he didn't really. I think after the eye poke, he complained once, and it was kind of you know, it is what it is. I can't let that, you know, disrupt my focus. I can't let that disrupt my morale or my energy or anything like that. I'm just going to try to, you know, put my best foot forward with one eye and see where it goes. And Daniel Cormier put up a tough 4th and 5th round. I think judges were scoring it 4-1. I don't know. I thought Daniel Cormier might have won one of those rounds. I think the 4th round, but I think all judges scored it 4-1. I'm not sure about that one. I honestly wouldn't have scored it like that. I still had Stipe winning the fight, but I think it was more 3-2 than it was 4-1. At the end of the day, Stipe wins. He deserves the win. You know, he's a champion. He has showed that he is the best heavyweight of all time. He's beat DC twice. But what's next for him? Does he take out Francis Ngannou again? Does he fight Francis Ngannou again? Who's left for him? I think at the end of the day, I think Stipe needs to take out Francis Ngannou one more time if he can. I'll be going for Francis Ngannou at that time, but if he could take out Francis Ngannou one more time, I think he should retire and kind of ride into the sunset, because I don't think anyone else is really there for him. So that's a big thing for Stipe. I think if he just takes out Francis Ngannou, who has been hot, and kind of cools him down again, he retires. His face is on the Mount Rushmore, and there's nothing more to say. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, who else is out there for Stipe after Francis Ngannou? Francis Ngannou has cleared out the heavyweight division. Nobody could beat him besides Stipe. So, big ups to Stipe, big ups to DC. He's had a hell of a career. 4 losses now. But his 4 losses were to, number one, the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time, and the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. It stings because you're number 2 in both of those categories, and it sucks, man. It sucks. You could have solidified yourself as the best in one of the divisions. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him. It sounds like at least after the fight, it didn't sound like he was completely done with fighting. I know that he's all for it, but he needs to take care of the eye. I mean, you don't want to lose your sight over things. We've seen, a couple or at least one fighter that has lost eyesight due to fighting, and Michael Bisping. Now I think he has a glass eye. He got hit with a heel kick. So, yeah, you got to take care of your health. Dude's a family man. He got kids. He's a high school coach. He has a lot of things ahead of him. Obviously he's not going to finish as the best of all time in the lightweight or heavyweight division, but everybody will remember Daniel Cormier as one of the best fighters in UFC history. Again, he just ran into 2 guys that are solidifying themselves as the best in their division. So there's no knock there. It sucks to be in DC's position. So thanks for stopping by. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for more fire sports takes. And for those of you who are on the go, make sure you subscribe to our full show, which airs every Thursday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a bunch more. Until then, I'm chucking it up, and I'll see you guys next time.